The NFL just made its biggest international move ever. 9 games will be played outside the United States in 2026, including a shocking trip to Australia. On paper, it looks like a massive win for the league. But once you look closer, this schedule could become a nightmare for some teams. And that is where the real story begins. For years, the NFL has been called America's game. But in 2026, that name may start to feel too small. The full 2026 NFL schedule will be released on Thursday, May 14 at 8 p.m. Eastern. Fans will finally see the full list of games, dates, times, primetime spots, and travel plans. But before the full schedule even drops, one part already stands out. The NFL is sending games all over the world. And not just to London, not just to one safe market, not just to places the league already knows well. This time, the NFL is going bigger. A record 9 international games will be played in 2026. Those games will stretch across 4 continents, 7 countries, and 8 stadiums. That is the part that makes this different. This is not just a few teams flying overseas for a special weekend. This looks like a league trying to change what the NFL season even means. And that is why this schedule release matters. Because when fans open the 2026 schedule, they are not just going to see who their team plays. They are going to see where the NFL is trying to go next. And one country on that list makes this whole thing feel much bigger: Australia. The NFL has confirmed that Melbourne will host a regular season game at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. The matchup is already known. The San Francisco 49ers will play the Los Angeles Rams. That is a massive move. The NFL is not sending 2 small market teams to test the water. It is sending 2 big West Coast brands with history, stars, and strong fan bases. That tells you something. The league wants this to feel serious. Australia is far away from the normal NFL map. It is not a short flight. It is not an easy trip. It is not a simple schedule move, and that is why it matters. If the NFL can make a regular season game work in Australia, then the league is proving something to itself. It is proving that the NFL season can stretch farther than people thought. But here is the catch. Every international game sounds exciting until you think about what teams must give up. Travel gets harder. Sleep gets harder. Practice weeks get tighter. Players must adjust to time zones. Coaches must protect routines. Teams must treat a normal game week like a major trip. And that is where this global push becomes a gamble, because the NFL wants growth. But teams still need wins. That tension is what makes the 2026 schedule so interesting. Fans see flags, new stadiums, and big crowds. Coaches see flight time, body clocks, and lost rhythm. And when the season starts, nobody will care about the business plan if a team looks tired on Sunday. That is the hidden pressure behind this global push. The NFL is not only trying to sell football to the world, it is trying to do that without hurting the football itself, and Australia is only one piece. Brazil is another huge part of the story. The NFL has confirmed a game in Rio de Janeiro at Maracanã Stadium. That alone is a major step. Maracanã is one of the most famous stadiums in the world. It is known for soccer history, huge crowds, and national emotion. Now the NFL is putting American football on that stage. The matchup is also big. The Baltimore Ravens will face the Dallas Cowboys. That is not a quiet game. Dallas brings one of the biggest fan bases in all of sports. Baltimore brings a strong team identity and star power. Putting those teams in Rio makes the message clear. The NFL wants Brazil to feel like a real football market, not just a one-time stop. And this is where the title comes back. This is the NFL's biggest international push ever, because it is not only looking for one successful game. It is planting flags. Australia gets the 49ers and Rams. Brazil gets Ravens and Cowboys. Paris gets its first regular season NFL game. Mexico City returns. Madrid stays on the map. Munich stays strong. London keeps 3 games. That is not random. That is a global plan. But the big question is simple. Can fans outside America care enough for this to last? That is what the NFL is trying to find out. London has already proven it can support NFL games. The 2026 slate includes 3 games in London, with 2 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and 1 at Wembley Stadium. London is the safest part of the plan. The NFL has been there many times. British fans understand the product. The crowds show up. The games feel like events. But London is no longer the whole story. That is the change. For a long time, NFL international talk almost always came back to London. Could London get a team? Could London host more games? Could London become the league's overseas base? Now the 2026 schedule shows something wider. The NFL is not putting all its hopes into one city. It is spreading the risk. That sounds smart, but it also brings a problem. The more places the NFL adds, the harder it becomes to keep every game feeling special. A London game feels normal now. Germany has become a strong NFL market too. Mexico City has history with the league. But Melbourne, Paris, and Rio are newer stages. They need the right matchup, the right crowd, the right broadcast, and the right story. One bad game will not kill the plan, but a flat atmosphere in a new market would hurt the image. That is why the schedule release matters so much. The NFL must balance business, travel, TV, and team fairness at the same time, and that is not easy. The league says its schedule process uses Amazon Web Services, with about a quadrillion possible schedule combinations and over 26 factors. Those factors include stadium availability, travel needs, primetime games, fair competition, and division rivalries. That sounds huge because it is huge. Now add 9 international games to that puzzle. Add long flights. Add teams coming back from overseas. Add short weeks. Add stadiums shared with other sports. Add TV windows in different parts of the world. Suddenly, the schedule is not just a calendar. It becomes one of the hardest jobs in the sport. And that is where fans should pay attention. Because your team's season can turn on little details. Who gets a bye after an overseas game? Who has to travel back and play again fast? Who gets a primetime game after a long trip? Who loses a true home game? Who gets the better rest edge? These things matter. A schedule can help a team. A schedule can also quietly hurt a team. That is why the May 14 release is not just about circling big games. It is about finding the traps. And 2026 will have more traps than usual. Now look at Paris. The NFL will play its first regular season game in Paris at Stade de France. The New Orleans Saints have already been named as one of the teams involved. This is a strong move because France is not just another pin on the map. Paris is a global city. It has major events, major stadium history, and global attention. But football has to fight for space there. Soccer is king. Rugby matters. Other sports have deep roots. So the NFL cannot just show up and assume people will care. It needs a real event feel. It needs stars. It needs local fans to feel like this is more than a traveling show. That is the same challenge in Madrid. The NFL has a game planned at the Bernabeu Stadium, home of Real Madrid. That stadium name carries weight all over the world. But the NFL knows the stadium alone is not enough. The game has to matter. The teams have to matter. The broadcast has to make it feel big. Because the league is not just selling tickets. It is trying to build habits. That is the real goal. A one-time fan may buy a ticket. A real fan watches. A real fan buys gear. A real fan follows players. A real fan wakes up at strange hours to watch games. That is what the NFL wants. And that is much harder than selling out one stadium. This is why the 2026 push is so important. It shows the NFL is moving from events to growth. Not one game, not one market, not one headline. A bigger system. Mexico City is also part of that system. The NFL will return there in 2026 at Estadio Banorte. Mexico has a long NFL fan base. Many fans already follow teams closely. The league does not need to explain the sport from zero there. That makes Mexico different from some newer markets. It is not only about discovery. It is about serving fans who already exist. Germany is similar in a different way. Munich will host a 2026 game at FC Bayern Munich Stadium. Germany has given the NFL loud crowds and real energy in recent years. Those games showed something important. The NFL can feel local overseas when the crowd is ready. Not polite, not curious, ready. That is the dream for every new market. The league wants Melbourne, Rio, Paris, and Madrid to feel like that too. But there is still one tough question. How far can the NFL stretch before players push back harder? The regular season is already long. The bodies are already worn down. Teams already worry about travel, rest, and injury. Now add global trips. Fans may love the idea. Owners may love the money. TV partners may love the content. But players have to live it. They have to fly. They have to sleep. They have to hit. They have to recover. That is the part fans cannot ignore. The NFL's global dream is built on player bodies, and if players feel the trips are too hard, the league will hear about it. That does not mean the plan will stop. It means the league must make the schedule smarter. That is why bye weeks matter. That is why travel gaps matter. That is why matchup placement matters. The NFL cannot just say global growth and move on. It has to prove the system is fair. Because if a team loses 2 games after a brutal travel stretch, fans will not blame the map. They will blame the schedule, and maybe they should. This is the real drama behind May 14. The schedule release is not just a TV event. It is the moment everyone sees the cost of the NFL's world plan. Some teams will love it. Some fans will complain. Some players will quietly circle the travel weeks, and some coaches will look at the calendar and know their season just got harder. But the league is still pushing forward. Why? Because the NFL has already conquered much of America. The next growth is outside it. That is why these games matter. That is why the schedule matters. That is why Australia matters. The NFL is trying to turn American football into a world habit, not just a Super Bowl party, not just a London weekend, not just a novelty game, a real global sport. But here is the final twist. The NFL does not need every country to become America. It does not need every fan in Paris or Rio or Melbourne to grow up with football. It only needs enough fans to care deeply. Enough fans to fill stadiums, enough fans to watch every week, enough kids to play flag football, enough sponsors to spend money, enough cities to ask for games again. That is how a sport spreads. Not all at once. Market by market, game by game, schedule by schedule. And 2026 may be the season where the NFL stops testing the world and starts acting like it belongs there. Still, this could go 2 ways. If the games are exciting, the crowds are loud, and the schedule feels fair, the NFL will call this a major win. But if travel problems, weak matchups, tired teams, or angry fans take over the story, then this record push could become a warning. That is what makes it worth watching. The NFL just confirmed its biggest international push ever, but the schedule release will show the real truth. Not the press release, not the logo, not the flags, the calendar. Because the calendar will tell us which teams pay the price, which markets get the spotlight, and how serious the NFL really is about becoming a world sport. And when May 14 arrives, fans will not just be asking who plays who. They will be asking something much bigger. Is the NFL taking football to the world, or is it stretching the game too far?